After the surge in Genius Invocation TCG content that launched with 3.7, you may have gotten your hands on most of the new action cards that just came out. But with the sheer amount of brand new content, what cards can actually slot into your decks? You may know some staples from our previous content like Liben, Bestis, and Lotus Crisps, but there are some new cards that can have strong effects just as powerful as our old ones. So let's drop right in. It's no secret that resonance-related cards have really strong effects, and is partially the reason why players run specific character combos in their lists. This includes the oppressive Pyro Clutching list with Pyro Resonance, and the Geo-Oceanid list, making use of both Geo-Resonance and Abyssal Summons. Hoyo doubled down on the resonance concept and added nation-related resonance cards to give players more combos to pull off with characters from Mondstadt, Liyue, Inazuma, Sumeru, and the agents hailing from Snezhnaya. Wind and Freedom gives players a ton of playmaking opportunities with the ability to allow another action after scoring a kill, which can suffocate an opponent's playmaking ability and leave them with little to no resources. Some Pyro Clutching pilots came to the conclusion to substitute Pyro Fatui Agent with Klee to make way for this card. Stone and Contracts is a ramp-oriented card that can be used situationally and acts like a more fast-paced Paimon that can align some of your dice for the upcoming round. Some players use this card in the popular Shenhe Anemo deck for extra ramping. Thunder and Eternity is a more unique card that allows for all of your dice to turn into dice of your active character. This can be pivotal in some cases such as Raiden Ito decks to ensure that you can make plays without worrying about dice. Nature and Wisdom gives players the opportunity to swap cards that they don't want in their hand for a random chance to get cards that they might. This is useful in Quicken decks like that of Tainari, Yai Miko, and Nihida to get something like a Gamblers for a playmaking opportunity. And finally, Fatui Conspiracy is similar to Abyssal Summons in that it inflicts an element onto opponents for additional damage from pivotal elemental reactions. This card gave rise to the Fatui Hu Tao deck with a guide released by GITCG's Theory Crafting staff. But how are you going to be able to draw these cards? Look no further than Treasure Seeking Sealy. Compared to the other draw cards in the game, Treasure Seeking Sealy allows the players to draw 3 cards for 1 dice after using skills 3 times. Strategize only draws 2 cards for 1 dice, which is less cards, and Louis Harbor Wharf gives 4 cards total, but you'll need to spend 2 aligned dice, which can be too slow. Treasure Seeking Sealy may cost more than Chang the Ninth, but Sealy is much more easier to trigger as it gains stacks off of any skill. If the player is able to place Treasure Seeking Sealy, it can activate as early as the start of the next round. Vanarana is a card that saves up to 2 dice that you have floated from your previous round and transfers them into the next round. This is good to not only maximize the dice you gain per round, but it also gives users more flexibility in how they want to tackle future rounds. This is good for aggro and Tenacity of the Millelith decks. For example, an aggro deck for an 8 dice round can skill twice, then float 2 dice for Vanarana to grab. This gives you the opportunity to perform 3 skills in the following round. An example for a Tenacity of the Millelith deck would be to save the dice you gain from the artifact effect for next round with the effect of Vanarana. Be careful how you play this card with Liben though, as since support fields go from left to right, top to bottom, Vanarana can steal dice first, preventing Liben from activating. Tenshukaku may be a card that flies under many people's radar, but it can have incredible effects in slower paced games. Tenshukaku gives the player an extra dice to work with if they roll 5 or more different types of dice. Due to the mechanics of this card, each Omni dice counts as their own type, which means the chances of Tenshukaku activating is extremely likely. This means it can activate multiple times during the course of a game and gain positive dice value for future rounds. When it activates, Tenshukaku offers the user more dice advantage against their opponents, and will overall give the user more flexibility by enabling additional plays with the extra dice. An important tip is to place cards such as Paimon, Liben, or Vanarana before Tenshukaku to increase the chance that it will activate. Next is Tenacity of the Millelith, which is exceptionally powerful in decks that play at a slower pace and want to stall out the opponent. The artifact's benefit is giving the equipped character 2 additional shields every round and an additional dice if they're hit by the opponent once per round. This gives the character equipped with the artifact substantial sustain with more effective HP and flexibility, as the equipped character is always guaranteed an extra dice. The best example where this card shines is in Zhongli Geo-Oceanid, where the goal is to equip Zhongli with Tenacity to Millilith and Vortex Vanquisher. Once Zhongli is fully equipped, he becomes an absolute god, tanking multiple hits and whittling away his opponents down slowly, while Tenshukaku and Vanessa keep the dice economy strong. Heavy Strike is a more niche card that can have some uses where it grants the user an extra 1 damage for a normal attack, and an additional 1 damage if the normal attack is with a charge attack, otherwise known as an attack with even dice. While this card does require meticulous dice counting, it can help players reach certain breakpoints which can surprise opponents with damage they were not expecting, or even enable surprise kills. While the card only works for normal attacks, it is good in decks that may need the extra boost in damage. Legend of Vanessa can pretty much only be used in normal attack oriented decks, but still, it does have value in those decks. Costing 3 aligned dice, the card outputs 4 random dice, meaning that it acts as a woven dice for the price of the dice's alignment. While this card does unalign some of your dice, it is effective in normal attack oriented decks for the extra dice that do not need to be aligned. An honorable mention that seems really cheesy is Kid Kujarai. When played, he acts as an extra woven omni dice that you gain every other round, as the support card swaps fields every time it activates. Obviously, this will help you be more flexible with certain plays with the extra dice, but your opponent gains this benefit too. Kid Kujarai can effectively act as a faster Timmy if you want a stronger next round. If played incorrectly, it can be detrimental when your opponent gets Kid Kujarai and gains the extra dice. Finally, concluding with food, Tandoori roast chicken seems to be the strongest one on the menu. Costing 2 unaligned dice along with satiating all of your characters, they all gain an elemental skill buff of 2 additional damage. This gives your team a significant boost in single target damage, as well as help reach breakpoints against your opponent's units, enabling AoE decks to finish off remaining units in the endgame. However, to get the most value from this food, it is recommended to ramp prior to using Tandoori to ensure you land at least 2 skills that round. This food is best seen in our GITCG Theory Crafting Staff Guide on Shenhe Anemo on the KEQING main website, wherein they recommend running a copy of Tandoori to support the deck's single target damage, as the deck normally only does AoE damage. Hopefully, this guide gives you a new perspective on how you should tackle deck building in your next Arena of Champions run or session of random matchmaking. But if you have any questions about deck building or want a spicy challenge with the more experienced / well-known players, feel free to join our Discord server at discord.gg/GITCG for discussions, tournaments, and be a part of our own ranked matchmaking system. That's all for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.